might have noticed that we're like, you see that usually it's there. So if before that time Elvis shows up, we're gonna have the game. If not, there's no game this time. I'm really hoping that people are not gonna get up now and just leave. Right, but enough about that. It's time for our guest of honor, Latvian success story. Uvis Zviedris, is he here or did he also run away? Uvi? Oh, sorry. Okay, round of applause for him.
Okay, whoa. So I haven't done any public speaking for about 6 to 7 years, and I was terrible back when I did it, so keep your expectations low. My name, Uvis Zviedris, as I was introduced, and online I go by Neverjam, and I'm gonna tell you about a game I released about a year ago now. So some of you might have heard of it, some of you might not, so we'll start by rolling a trailer. Cool. All right, so it's a spiders with laser swords. It's a party game. It's got physics. It's got multiplayer. It's got local multiplayer. It's got PvE, PvP, one hit deaths, kind of challenging, that kind of stuff. All of that stuff you see on the screen. So during this presentation, I'll talk about a little bit what the game actually is, why you should care, why you should listen to me. Then I'll answer the question of how I got the idea for spiders with laser swords. People tend to ask me that a lot. And then a little bit about the development process, because it was very, very public with public builds, and like every step was kind of on Twitter or on Reddit and all that kind of stuff. And then a little bit about what it was like working with a publisher. Yeah. So, button, not working, no. I'll just say your name every time. Okay, some basic info. So, sort of was my first game. I say sort of because technically, when I was in the university doing my bachelor's degree, I did do a project that was like 2 Unity tutorials stuck together and got a 9 for it. So, but I like to say it's my first game. I started it as a full-time solo project, which means I was unemployed. I had some, I think I'm popping the mic too much. I was unemployed and had some savings, and I thought, well, why not make a game with those savings? I had savings for about 2 years, and I naively thought, like, okay, I have 2 years. I'll easily make 2 games during that. It took 3 years to finish one. I got to partner with TinyBuild, a pretty big indie publisher. That was a really interesting experience. And they released the game for it to become a success. I'll talk more about what success means afterwards. Game got released on all of those platforms, basically everything except mobile phone, which was really cool for the nerd part of my brain, where it's like I could launch any of the consoles I have and be like, wow, it's my little game there. Then, oh, and an important part on the previous was also, it's also on Game Pass, which is going to come up. So regarding the team, as I said, it started as a solo project. Eventually, after 2 years, I partnered with Tinyville, I think maybe a bit later, and it kind of grew a bit. So if at start it was just me, later it was me, Jazeps, a certain person here that you might know, who was helping me add extra features and post-launch support. Professor Click, the music person. We had an intern who was, let's say, a cheap way to generate a lot more hats for the spiders. At the publisher, as I mentioned before, we had a separate studio working on porting the game to all the platforms, adding online support, because I have no idea how to add online support for a video game. Then the localization team and a bunch of QA teams to check if the game is good. Basically, it from a little baby, it grew like into this big machine. And now, 4 years later, we've supported a game for a year now. I'm trying to step away to start working on something new, but the publisher is willing to continue actually supporting the game through the what used to be the porting online studio, now promoted to co-development studio. So success. Here's a bunch of numbers. The most interesting here for me that I would highlight are the first two, which is the downloads for the test versions on GameJolt and Itch, and the spot on the daily active demo players on Steam. The game was out already before release. Since there was a lot of test versions and everything, there was quite a bit of an audience even before the game released. Then there's the other stuff. You can see like it's reviewed pretty well. There's a big number of players playing monthly, but there's a caveat there. We are on Game Pass, so there's a lot of audience coming in from that. And oh, there's some awards from GameDev Latvia. Thank you, guys. The head of the association was working on the project as well, so I don't know if that's related. More numbers. Oh yeah. What's important? Is there something important here? I think like an important thing here to note is like there's some big numbers there, but those Twitter followers aren't that big. But that's basically everything else grew from the Twitter, as I'm gonna mention a bit later. And we don't even have a TikTok account. It's just people post stuff. Did you click it or did I click? Cool. Am I just clicking it and you're just doing it at the same time? I thought it's working. Nice. That's a professional. Okay. Question I get asked the most. Oh yeah, spiders with laser swords. That's so crazy. How did you come up with that? So yeah, that's. I get this over and over and over again. I think people imagine that there's like this big moment of like you just get the idea. You're sitting on a couch. You're like, yes, spiders with laser swords. This is how I'm gonna make it. There was no idea moment. There was no like I have a plan. It was more of like an iterative process where I started making something and then I just kind of arrived there. I'm gonna try and walk through some of that, and we'll see. Maybe that clears something up. I didn't click it this time. Careful. How did you decide what to make? Oh yeah, so how do you decide what to make? So yeah, as I said, the situation was like this. I was unemployed. I had savings, and I was like, I would make a game. I have no experience, but I want to do it. But like, how do you decide what to do? Like, you could make anything, well, within your skill level. There's a lot of genres. There's a lot of art styles, everything, and it was a bit overwhelming. I had no idea what to do. I came up with these 3 questions, like, what do I want to make? Like things, it should probably be something I'm interested in. What am I skilled enough to make? I don't have any art skills. I can't write. I can't animate. Audio stuff is beyond me. So there's quite a lot of limitations there. No 3D stuff is already too crazy as well. And the third one, I kind of wanted to make it a product as well, potentially sell it. So what might people want to buy? And this, the way I look at it is that whatever I make, it needs to be able to stop people from scrolling on social media, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to sell something. So I need to catch them within a couple of frames of what the attention they're giving me and be interesting in some way. So here's a chart that makes this look good. This is smart. Okay. And we want to be in the yes zone. Thank you. I actually believed again that it worked. Okay. So, wow, what does that mean for me? Because like that was cool questions, but how do you do it? So, simple vector art. Why? Because my background was programmer slash like web developer. I had done a little bit of web design, so I knew Illustrator, so I could do simple shapes. And the screenshot there is from a game called Thomas Was Alone. It's literally just a bunch of blocks jumping around, telling a story, and with some nice shadows and everything, they actually make it kind of cool. It works. So I thought like that's a good example of art level I could achieve. Physics I picked because I thought, well, since I'm a programmer, I could probably deal with the more technical sides. And physics, even if done badly, they're funny. So even the worst case, I'll actually make something that's just hilariously bad. Great. A memorable character, I just thought it would be cool to center something around the character, especially if you use like an animal. Usually you would key in like the audience that likes that animal. So a good example was there was a GDC talk about someone who made a game with a fox, and automatically people who like foxes were interested in his game. So, thank you. But yeah, how does that lead to spiders with laser swords? How? Next. It all starts with a leg. So I figured physics, character, I want to make a physics-based like character movement thing, active ragdoll, I believe it's called. So I found a tutorial that makes like a little joint, and I transferred that to 2D. And so there's a little moving leg I have. And this was the beginning of the game. That doesn't really explain much. So after that, some days later, I had a human. Because of course, once you make one leg, you can make a human. It's not looking good. But yeah, I quickly identified that it's really hard to balance humans, and that they're like, they fall over a lot, and we're kind of complicated. So my solution to that was like, okay, step back. What's an animal that would be easier to balance? It would be something with more legs. So I did this. Yeah, and the cool and like this is the moment I knew I was on the right track, because I showed it to my friends and they went like, ugh. That's an emotion. That's strong. That means like they're scrolling and they're gonna be like, ugh. They stopped. Good. So I kept making it. Next one. So since it looked kind of like a spider, I made it crawl on walls. Look at it. Look at it go. And people were still going like, eh. Mistake I was already making. I wasn't posting any of this. I should have been already. This is already interesting. Then next one. I added the ability to web swing, because spiders web swing, right? That's realistic. That on the pink GIF is the first one I posted on Reddit, and the post didn't go like big, but it got traction, and that's like another confirmation I got. This is on the right track. People are reacting to this. This is cool. Let's keep going. The mistake I was making though, I made a Reddit thread. People were like, "Oh, cool. How can I follow you?" No plan, no idea. So kind of useless, except that I got like an ego boost. Nice. So, but I kept making it. The spider got a bit more nicer. There's the movement got nicer. A couple of months were spent more on that. Slide. So I made a couple. It was like shaping up to be a cool movement system. I made it into a little platformer here. Oh, and slide. But oh no, I made a platformer. The problem with platformers. Yeah. I can only name Super Meat Boy and Celeste. So I'm not really big into platformers. Those are two really awesome games. I don't think I can do that. So skill-wise, I'm not there. How can I sell a platformer? No idea. So yeah, not good. So my solution to this was give them weapons. Wow, classic video game trick. And add local multiplayer. The local multiplayer was like a happy little accident. There was a Unity input system, a new one, and it made it super easy to add local multiplayer. So I just did it as with a couple of clicks, maybe a little bit more, but yeah. And I experimented with some weapons. Next. And I gave them these rocket fists, and I played it with a friend. And it was starting to be fun. We were smiling, maybe even laughing. I think that meant good things. But at this point, I was already I had an active Twitter. I was posting this a lot. This was getting traction, but one thing I got was a comment of someone going like, "Oh, this is really cool. These are spiders fighting with vacuum cleaners." I knew I had a problem, because if you're trying to describe the game to someone and saying this spider's fighting with things that are like vacuum cleaners, it gets kind of weird. So I was thinking like, well, how do I, next slide, how do I make it something a bit more, I don't know, recognizable? And I came up with this really unique weapon called the particle blade. I don't think you've seen it anywhere before. Yeah. But yeah, it's somewhat of a cynical decision. And the moment, I think like one of the first tweets I did with this, straight away I saw the difference. People were suddenly like, oh God, spiders with laser swords, it works. Particle blades, sorry. I don't know what the next slide is, but let's see. Oh yeah, cool. Game done, right? Next slide. So COVID happened. Testing the game became a bit more difficult, because at this point there's no plans for online multiplayer. I didn't anticipate ever doing that because skills, and PC. Even if without COVID, PC already isn't a very local multiplayer platform. But yeah, so we had a lot of feedback from people. At this point, I'm already doing builds online. I will talk about that process a bit more. But the feedback was like, cool, I downloaded the game, how do I play with my friends? It got to the level where we had like a little debug menu in the game where you could like send a bug report, but the kids were just entering IPs in there to connect to their friends. So we had a problem, and I came up with the simple solution. So I made a whole other game mode where you fight AI enemies and go do survival and stuff. There's probably a bunch more I could talk about here, but in terms of saving time, we're gonna move to a different category. Yeah, so this opened up a whole new, bigger audience, because suddenly you could play the game on your own. And yeah, it was just good decision. I'm good. Doing development publicly online in front of everyone all the time, that's how it felt. So, let's go. So, as I said, the development was kind of public. So here's a list of the main things I did. As I said, 1 month in, did the Reddit post. Stuff was happening. Like it was getting traction. However, there was no way to even if I was getting traction, there was no way to where to lead these people. After like 3 months, I got the idea, oh, I should make a Twitter. And I tried to point people to the Twitter. Silly idea, because like then you need to make a Twitter account if you're a Redditor. At some point it grew into a subreddit as well, but like, and then like way too late, 9 months into the development, I started making test builds. And then as you see, it's like the same time as Discord. The initial way I did that was, I was join my Discord to test the game. This actually worked really well. I actually built up quite an audience there. And all of this, of course, is to gain Steam wish lists eventually, but we'll get to that. Slide. So yeah, I think like what's different about like the way I did it, at least from the way other people I see do it, is like I kind of treated like the tests, the demos, whatever I had that I started releasing 9 years in, and then like continued for 2 years up till the release. I kind of, looking back, it was very much early access. I regularly updated them. I tried every month. Like let's be real, it was every second month. There was an update. There was change logs. The content that was done was moved out. There was a new content moved in. It was just constant flow. And it was constantly building up an audience. It's basically we're free to play, is the way I would say it. But I would just never. It was never like branded that. It was like, come test the game. So I guess we move forward. Yeah. So, okay. Can we go back a bit? So yeah, and as a new build comes, everything was always posted on like the socials, on the Twitter. My stuff was usually like Twitter, Reddit. This Discord was also being maintained, and all of that. Like, and whenever I make something, I post there. If people are interacting with it, cool. If people are completely ignoring it, I might need to revisit it. So it wasn't just like a publicity tool. It was also like testing like the concept, seeing if it actually works. So doing it that way led us to some really cool opportunities. At one point got reached out by a person saying like, "Hey, do you want to get featured on GameJolt?" Which my answer was like, "What the fuck is GameJolt?" Turns out it's like itch. It's not actually that. It's actually kind of big. It's itch, but with more Five Nights at Freddy's games, I think. But yeah, at that point they had like a feature system where you would be shown on the front page, and this was just something that happened passively. I was posting on Twitter. Suddenly, someone approached me. Was like, "Hey, do you want this? Give us some assets. We'll put you up there in like X amount of months." When that was offered, I was like, "Cool." At that point, I was posting stuff on Discord, like the builds, and I lined it up with that feature to actually start moving the builds to itch and GameJolt, which paid off big time, because once I was on the front page, there was a game to play. There was an available build. More people came, and in the build, when you complete all the levels that were in the PvE section, you get to it said, "Join the Discord to acquire a special role," which was completely useless, but again, building that audience. Publishers came to me, which was nice because I reached out to publishers. Nobody responded. But because I was posting publicly, actually some came to me. Most of them scams, horrible, terrible. But some of them were pretty nice. Cool people wanted to work with me due to doing this. I constantly got offers of people doing free work. Nice. Didn't take any of them. It was kind of scary, but it was cool. And also doing this process this way led to a lot of like organic videos, TikToks, all that stuff. Again, my process was just putting up GIFs, putting out builds, but suddenly I see a TikTok that goes up to 1 million. Cool. Then I just keep doing what I was doing. The last point. Simon. What was there? Oh, Discord. Yeah, sorry. Let's go. So there's just because I don't feel like I could have structured this better, there's just going to be a random thoughts that I had about the process. I'm sure everyone's heard it. Make Steam page as early as possible. Someone here even messaged me saying make yours earlier. I agree. Everyone should make theirs earlier, and nobody does. I realistically, looking at my project half a year in, I could have made a Steam page. I made it a year and a half in. Part of it was due to the publisher negotiations and them wanting to be the ones to announce it. That took a year. Don't trust that. Focus on 1 to 2 platforms would be my tip for socials. It takes a lot of time, and it's easier to just learn 1 or 2. Research your platform. I see too many people not do this. Just Google it, and there's going to be tips for tags. There's post times, the amount of words to use, the format of the post. All of that is out there. Just take the time, use it. Use the information. I could have written the stuff I learned, but it's already outdated. It's pointless. Just Google it. Have a way for people to follow your project in case of success. This is something I already mentioned. I had multiple moments where like a tweet or a Reddit post goes big, and I just have no way to convert that to anything. People see it, they go cool, and then nothing. And I know that happened because like years later, there's people like, oh, cool. I remember seeing this game, and I never knew it came out. Terrible. Next. So as I said, posts must stop people scrolling. This came out to be really true. Like no intros, nothing like that should ever be there. It's just straight to the action. Make it something interesting. People love glitches in democracy. I think it's obvious that people love when the game gets broken. Show that. Don't be shy. Democracy. People like feeling like they're voting on something for the game. I never listen to them, but I let them vote. It's nice. Use your personal brand wherever possible. This is something I'm learning now. As I'm moving on from the project, I used some of my social media was in the Neverjam brand, and some of it was in SpiderHeck. Now, it takes a lot of time to build this, and now it's kind of doesn't feel good to leave the SpiderHeck stuff behind and be like, I need to rebuild the Discord, for example. So I think wherever you can, just use your personal brand. It might be a little bit more awkward, but then at least you can transfer that audience for the future stuff. Celebrate milestones. So this is a fun one. I found this cringe as hell, but on the start on Twitter, I had like 100 followers. I made this little post with this GIF here, and I was just like, "Whoa, gee, I never expected to get 100 followers. Wow, thank you guys." Next day, wake up, 250 followers. Thank you. And I tried it again. It wasn't as successful in the future, but again, it did. The posts usually do better than usual. So just do that. Next. So there's some tests for some tips for demos and test builds. As I mentioned there in the small text, it's not all games can do this. Like story-based game can't do this approach that I did. This just not going to work. Again, publish the Steam demo as early as possible. There's no downside. You can keep updating it. Like, if it's bad, what's the worst thing? People not going to play it, or someone's going to play and turn away. But so you lost one person, but you can find more. Steam popular demos can be a discovery tool. This again requires some level of success already. But once we were rolling, once I came on, started putting out the demo on Steam, which was I think for about a year before release, we were updating it. There were a lot of people showing up on Discord being like, "Hey, I actually found this game through Steam's daily active players or popular demos list, or it was just got recommended by the algorithm." I would strongly, whoever is putting out like test builds on itch, I would strongly suggest try doing it on Steam demos. It's could be really good. Plus, it's easier for people to install just stuff from Steam. Treat it like early access with regular updates. Kind of covered it. Again, like it was like literally just as if already having a released build a game. I was limiting the content that was available there. Rotate out. Yeah, as I said. Next. So something on the build. Secrets and difficult to achieve goals are great. I made it a habit. In every build of mine, there was something like you had to make a huge jump or over a pit, and there's suddenly going to be a Christmas tree. Or you have to like beat a really difficult combat challenge, and there's going to be the thing that says go to Discord to get a special role, something like that. It's not only you can get people to do stuff, it's also just promotes more discussion in your social media or your Discord, where people are saying, people post the screenshots. Like I have so many screenshots of this little guy sent to me like every week, and it's just a thing at the end of a really horrible maze in the game that people beat, and the maze is made for people to suffer, but they like to do it. Have a call to action in your builds. Yeah, every time. This I feel like a lot of other indie devs, I keep needing to tell them that like don't be shy. Put the call to wish list in there. People are gonna do it. It helps, especially if you put it in a point that like where the thing ends. Add a personal messages to the game. So this is something I used a lot, which is I don't pretend to be a studio. Pretend to be yourself. Pretend to be yourself. Makes sense? Yeah, where when you come into the game, there's usually for test versions, there was a personal message from me, like being like, hey, I'm just making this, blah, 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 this is in progress, everything signed by me, and then there's at some other points in the game, I'll be like, hey, this part's not finished, sorry. People really appreciate that, and then they just, I feel like it makes it harder to criticize a little bit. And again, it's about adding that more personal feel. Like here, after that challenge, in the end, it's just the text says, "I hope you're happy," and it's just my little logo. Add references to community events in the game. Like for example, about the challenge mazes that we have in the game. There was a reputation on the Discord that I make people suffer intentionally. Because of that, at one point releasing an update for a build, I took 20 minutes to make this horrible jumping puzzle. And I thought nobody's gonna like bother with it, but this is there to just annoy two people. Eventually, it got so popular that eventually we spun it out into a whole separate mode that I forced the Azips to make. So yeah, let's keep going. So, how are we for time? Cool. Working with a publisher. Why did I do it? What did I get? What did I learn? This is gonna be short. The little screenshot there is kind of like how I try to communicate with the community, by the way, like just honest. Let's keep going. Why did I do it? So there, the publisher thing is like always the spooky question. Should you do it? It's like you're risking to losing stuff potentially, and scary big business. But realistically, I had no idea what I was doing. I needed help with certain things. What did I need help with? I need to read it. I needed help with porting, localization, marketing, and money. True, because I was actually running out of money at that point. The way I saw it, getting in a publisher who's going to get some funding was going to reduce my risk, because I could technically ask for as much as I was like the minimum success route for me. And my tip here is ask for more than you think. There's a lot of money in the game industry. At least there was a couple of years ago. Maybe there's less now. Potentially with a big enough publisher, you can multiply the success, because like my game is already on track to be successful enough for myself probably, but like I wanted to secure that. And as I write there, I don't know what I am doing. Help would be nice. So I expected like there's probably people experienced there that would like give me advice. There were. Next. So what did I get? I got a lot more than I asked for, I think, in a way. Porting, localization, QA teams, money for development, already really good music man. I got a Yazeps. A marketing budget and people, Game Pass deal. I underscore that because that's like a really big deal. Because of Game Pass, we were like profitable day one. There was like no question about whether it's like the game's gonna earn money or not. And online multiplayer, I actually thought the game would not be able to get that, and they hired people to just do that for me. But at the end of that, that amounts to just really a lot and lots of stress, because that's a lot of teams to work with. That's a lot of plates to keep spinning, and yeah, so in the next slide, things I didn't consider enough. Platform deals are a huge deal. So yeah, when I was looking at publishers, I only thought like, I'm gonna get one of the big ones whose reputation's kind of good, so they don't fuck me over. But yeah, I didn't think about that, like getting those, for example, something like Game Pass is like, that changes everything. They don't, I spoke to my producer, he said like, they don't normally like, offer this as a thing in this initial interview or something, this might happen because there's too many parties involved. But if I was looking at publisher now, I would look at how many games from their catalog are already on subscription services, things like that, because that might be an indicator. The thing I didn't consider, the more people involved in this in the project, the more stress. That's true. You have to communicate with a lot of them, coordinate, all that. It's much simpler to do stuff on your own in a way. Porting, adding online support takes time. So yeah, after we added the extra team, every time I made an update, which I was used to like making an update, releasing it next day. So now we had to wait for it to be adapted for online. Probably takes a week or two. It to be ported to the other consoles. There's a week in there too, so let's say 2 weeks total so far. And then you have to go through certification, which for consoles is also like a week, maybe two, depends on the console. It's kind of complicated, especially if you're on a Switch. Yeah, and all that together, one is you're trying to usually hit like some kind of timeline, so that means you need to finish stuff way beforehand for all that process to take place. And this also meant like my usual process of just making stuff, putting it out, getting feedback, all that was just completely gone. I needed to now go through this thing where the moment I'm getting feedback is like a month later when I'm already working on something else, which was really like kind of unfortunate to how I like to work on stuff. Yeah, that was an abrupt ending. Yeah, thank you for listening. And yeah, there's some keys, and there's a fat spider.
Anyway, what I wanted to ask is, you mentioned marketing as one of the top things in your publisher, things that they did. But honestly, like it looked, if it was only for marketing, then you didn't need a publisher based on your previous tale. Was it really that important? I mean, it looks like the deal and online thing was the main thing why you would sign a publisher. Would you sign a publisher if it was a single player game? That's what I was going to ask.
So right now I would think a bit more. Initially I would 100% would have done it anyway, because there's one thing I can get like I can get some publicity with just my posts and like the organic stuff. But then there's like a completely different reach you can get when they're just throwing marketing money at big YouTubers. That's like it can grow it quite a lot. So for a single player game, it's just I think it would be more down to me just wanting to keep my development process, not the marketing stuff, because I think the marketing stuff still pays off. Is like I guess what I'm saying. Yeah.
So in your initial development process, it seems like you were doing lots of engagement with community, and can you speculate like how much you were doing development, how much you were doing that all other stuff?
It heavily depends on how much I was procrastinating in that week. Whenever I didn't want to work, I was on Discord talking to the community. But like, if I have to average it, I don't know. I would say like if there's a work week, that one of those days is like just purely social media and that kind of stuff. Sometimes even more. But I might be one of the people who overdoes it a bit. But I find it fun. It's weird.
Just for the rest of us to feel good about our estimates, your original estimate, the optimism you spoke about, what was your expectation? How much time did you expect it's gonna take?
Right. How much time? Like development time, yeah. How much? So the way I looked at it, so as I said, I had like budget for 2 years, right? And in my mind, I was like, I can get probably to like a small playable game in half a year was the first thought. And then I was like, but I'm a developer. I know things take more. So a year it's going to be. But then, yeah, 3 years. I could have, like, if I didn't go with a publisher, I probably would have hit early access in year 2. That's probably the way I would have done it. But, yeah, I was a bit off.
Hey, how's it going? So you previously mentioned, recognized you. Yeah. So you previously mentioned about transitioning communities and stuff, like that you should maybe use your own name when promoting games and stuff. So what's the state with your Discord server, and like, is it your personal one? You're transitioning it to some other game, or are you leaving it? Are you becoming a Discord moderator and leaving it to the tiny build guys to deal with it, or what's happening with that?
So currently the Discord is SpiderHeck specific. The plan right now is to make my own one and transition whoever's going to follow to that. There's going to be a big follow-up, I imagine. But regarding the old one, I am still going to be stubborn and keep it for myself, but like my involvement is there just going to be a lot less. I still want to hang around with the community, be there, because I think the game is still benefiting me, so if it benefits the game for me to be on the Discord, I mean, it's a good idea for me to hang around. Not moderate it. It's actually more like cause chaos.
Did you want to shut down the questions and we just say? Right. Okay, then I will not take. Okay, I should stop commenting and just answer the question. Do you think Tiny Build would allow you to promote your next game on SpiderHeck Discord?
Yes. They have no choice. I am still involved in SpiderHeck project. No, but like I've actually seen them for other studios where the other studio releases another game without them. They actually promote them on their socials and said like, hey, a friend of ours released a game and all that.
Right, so, okay. Do we want to cut into the break time? Yeah, I don't see any loud objections.
So I missed the first part of the talk. I think you used the Unity engine. Right. So I have 2 questions. First, would you consider now, with everything going on with Unity, changing engines for your next project? And also, do you feel like having learned from working with a publisher, that now you will work with another publisher, maybe the same one, on your next project? Or do you feel like you've learned more than enough and you can do the next thing on your own, so to speak?
Regarding the Unity stuff, I don't feel like qualified to really key into that. Like myself, yes, during the panic moment, I installed Unreal, I installed Godot, and like I looked around and I was like, I will make a little project in each, but now I'm like, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's not gonna really bother me, and I don't know. I need to think. I haven't like started the next thing yet, so that's a decision to still be made. What was the other part of the question? Oh yeah, so whether I will work with a publisher again. I need to get there, but like the one thing I would say like I would really avoid right now is being in the situation where I'm making one thing and then it needs to be adapted to online and then ported, and like basically I would look to minimize those steps, because I really enjoy that process of making something, putting it out, getting instant feedback, going back and just repeating, because I think that's the only way I can make something good. The moment that stopped for me, I felt like I'm making something for I don't know what, and then the most motivating thing is a month later after you made a mistake, getting reminded and saying like, why did you make it that way? And not good.
Okay, so my question is, so I understand correctly that, well, the base idea, you give the base idea for the game, but mostly everything started to construct when you went into Reddit or, into community, right? So from what I understand is that you mostly build the game what community asks, right? So you're like constructing on top. It's like half your idea but half community. Did I understand correctly?
That's what the community would like to think. No, like a lot of the process was very. As I said, no plan. It's just like stuff that made sense and stuff that was most fun. Sometimes it was stuff that the community would be most upset about specifically, just to rile them up a bit. But yeah, I think there's certainly a pretty large element of what they're asking for. But like for example, for the game, they're asking for machine guns like for ages. I'm never gonna. I was never. Maybe TinyBuild's gonna add that now. But I was just. There are certain things I will just never do. Like they wanted friendly fire to be like a thing you can disable. I think killing your friends is fun. I'll never allow that. So yeah.
I'm finally giving it to you. I'm waiting for so long.
Hi, thank you for nice presentation. I really liked your laser swords. One question about numbers, about selling, about your revenue.
I have a publisher agreement that doesn't let me say that. NDA.
Any more questions? If not, so how many? Oh, okay. More questions.
Hello there. Quick question about porting your game to other game platforms. Could you like give a small insight how it was in your case, and what were the biggest like maybe struggles or things to keep in mind?
Nice moves. So in a way, the process was very seamless for me, because I just make a thing and then it appears on the consoles because there's another team working there. But like if I need to remember at least some difficulties, like consoles have a bit more strict requirements. Like for PlayStation, there's like little edges on the screen that you should never have UI on, for example. It's minor stuff. But what's like the most, since I built for the PC, the UI is built for that. And you'd think like the porting team would adapt it and everything, but the one thing that's kind of harder to adapt when like all my fonts are very small and you're trying to make it on the Switch, right? So that kind of stuff maybe you need to keep in mind, that like the small screens. But like now it's with the Steam Deck out, like you kind of have to do that anyway. So I guess for me it was very little thought put into the consoles. I guess sometimes the porting team complained to me that like I use too much effects and Switch can't handle it.
Any more questions? No. Then a question to you guys. Do you want to move the schedule so you get 10 minutes, or do we continue after 4 minutes? Raise hands who want to have 10 minutes. Okay. Raise hands who want to have 4 minutes. I think 10 minutes was a bit more. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're moving the schedule, and go and breathe. Yeah, and round of applause. Okay, let us continue. So, next thing we're talking about is the news, because there are some nice opportunities for you guys, events happening. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit a moment of pride. I don't know if that guy already left or not, but if I recall correctly, for the first time in history, in Central and Eastern European Game Awards, we have a Latvian nominant. Sadly, he didn't win, but we have someone who got to... oh God, that's gonna be half of the presentation just gone if I cannot load YouTube. Is there anything we can do, or is it just... I put in videos, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna put in the time and make it like appealing to you guys. Now we have a white screen. Amazing. Yay. No, it should stop when I, yeah. So I just want to put it out there, have this moment with you guys as well. It's not that visible here, but there's the hall was huge and was completely full. It was amazing.
Contraband police. Hard West 2. Jagged Alliance 3. The Case of the Golden Idol.
Now let's find out who the winners are.
Such an amazing...
One? Okay. We can stop it. Sadly, they didn't win. Hard West won, and they won the Game of the Year as well. But Case of the Golden Idol got the best design and the hidden gem, and I'm hoping that next year I'm going to see one of you there taking the main prize. So, next thing, on the 18th of October, so it's very soon, Liepa is doing an event for school children. And the aim of that is to bring them into IT. To do that, what is needed are developers, professionals who want to go there, who want to talk about game dev, and who want to show their games and just tell them what it is to make games, what you have done, and so on. So let's look at the last year so you have maybe a better idea. The event is pretty big. It's more than 500 children and youths.
Foršākajiem cilvēkiem. Un jums būs iespēja viņus iepazīt šodien.
What's that? We know that guy, right? Uvis Studio, a Latvian company. talking about our meetups. More Jazeps. So I think we can stop it here, but you got the gist of it. So if you are a game developer, independent, or you have a company, we would absolutely love to have you on the 18th in Liepāja. If you are interested, you have questions, you want to apply, just talk to me. Okay, next thing, don't run it yet. So there's a house in Sweden that is for game developers. They live together and they work together. It's called Spelkollektivet. It's in southern Sweden, and every single year they do a Halloween game jam. And it's a week long, and it ends with a costume party. So this year, everyone who goes there can attend the event, stay there, and they get 3 square meals a day for free. So let's have a very quick tour of the place.
Hi and welcome to this quick tour of Spelkollektivet. So here's our kitchen, our dining room and a meeting room, and where we all hang out. This is me. I'm mostly here for the pretty face. Let's say hi to Jay. Oh, where did he go? Oh, he's in the shower. Yeah, that makes sense. Here's one of our bedrooms, and let's head down to the basement. Ping pong table, big office, smaller office, dude streaming, and last but not least, Ticket Cracksol Mastermind himself. And then we have a TV room and a VR room and of course a gym. But we'll have to cut it short here, so thanks for watching.
So yeah, if anyone's still interested, you can still apply. Just pay for your trip, and everything else is there waiting for you. The next thing, in Tallinn on, what was the date, Jazep? 26th of October is pretty much going to be the biggest event in Baltics for game dev industry this year. So you can read what that is, aiming at PC, console, and mobile. And here's the thing, for all members of Latvian Game Developers Association, you get 70% off the ticket. So normally ticket is 100 euros, so you get to pay only 30 euros. Also, if you feel like showcasing your game there, then you get 90% off. So maybe you want to, show your games there. Also, Jazep told me to say that. On the 31st of October, every member who hasn't paid the member's fee for 3 or more years, we are cutting them loose. Okay. Yeah, but if you have. And we also know the dates of Globe Game Jam. Just wanted to say, so it's, let me find them, from 22nd till 28th of January next year. It's happening in University of Economics and Culture. Everyone's invited, event for free. Right, that's it. Enough about me talking. It's time for you guys talking, because it's the time of free mic. Go, I know you are going.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm a new member in the GameDev Latvia community, and I was asked. I would not volunteer for this. I was asked to come on stage and present myself. So it will be like 5 minutes. I hope small talk. I'm Alex. So I put some bullets. I'm now pursuing my dream of making a computer game or games. I started this year. Actually, I wanted to start it long ago, and Vladimir sitting there was actually inspiring me, and it took for seed to plant for a couple of years, and then I started it this year, learning from with Unity and stuff. doing some test projects, and in around May I decided to just take one of the ideas and just run it through all the way to publishing on Steam, mostly to see how it goes and just learn some experience which I'm already learning on the process. I decided to do something that I like myself, like playing, because otherwise I felt it will be very easy to burn out and not do it. And I'm doing it solo full time, and when I was working, my idea was that when I will stop working and do game, it will be like 5 days a week, 8 hours straight of doing, and I realized that procrastination is a huge thing in this, so it's like really challenging to put myself and do constantly. Anyway, so I picked a game that I liked playing, and I'm like a geek in the strategy games, so I basically I'm a sucker for Paradox Interactive grand strategy games, if somebody knows and play it, which is basically not a lot of juice or fun. It's more like a second work with like tons of numbers, and you need to play like 40 hours a week to complete. So I put together like those games that I like to play and try to make it like an easier version, and that's where I am still at the moment. I already have my lessons learned there, which is I published Steam page not in the very beginning, and actually now when I realize how the big guys are doing it, they even start making a Steam page when they don't have a game at all, with just some arts and some mock-ups of the nice UI. And a cool killer trailer, and then they develop it as they go. So right now I'm in the process of enhancing my Steam page more than actually doing the game. And the second lesson I learned that I discovered was that like in the Agile, they say if you want to build a rocket, you build like first like a bike, then a car, etc. I realized in game dev it's not quite like this. If you want to build a truck, you first build small truck, then bigger truck, then very big truck. But kind of even in the initial version, you want to show what kind of mechanics you are going to have there. So that's what I did not do. So right now I'm making some mock-up slides, screenshots for Steam that I will do. So I will kind of try to sell the dream to the people to get more wish lists. And if I get many wish lists, that will encourage me to deliver more features. And I'm planning to apply for Steam Next Fest in February and see how it goes there. I guess I overran my time already. No? Okay, okay, cool. I'm also looking for someone to help me with making a decent trailer. I will go for some freelancers, or if somebody knows someone or can do it, please approach me. And yeah, I'm doing like a geopolitical strategy theme, and if we go to the next slide, I'm not a artist or designer, so it's like super indie stuff, and it's basically a map game where you interact with like regions, and you will have different interactions there. And I called it GeoPolaris. I picked the name that is not existing in English, so you can in Google find just this one. Then I realized there are a few geeks also using this name, but still I don't get so many results. It could have been even better if the name would be not existing in English, but also consisting of phrases that are actually English and people are looking for. So that's my like third lesson learned, but anyway. Yeah, here is the Steam. You can go there and wishlist. Maybe the algorithm will enhance me there. I'm not enjoying so many wishlists at the moment, but I have not done much marketing stuff on Twitter. I have just 2 followers. One is the wife of my friend, and second is some scam account. So yeah, still have miles to go. I guess that's it. Okay, thanks guys.
Any questions? If not, thank you so much. Who's next? You.
Hello, show, tell, warrior, show and tell, boy. It's October, so I don't know what to do. If you have any ideas for Halloween, what to do, then you can tell me. Yeah, I know about the game jam, but I don't want to take a week vacation, so yeah. Another thing, I'm working on a board game. You can test it out. I am now working on art, and I have done 15 card art in 2 months. Still have approximately 140 left. Something 2 years, maybe more. So I decided that I have a problem when I work on my personal projects that I don't put any deadlines. So I'm using this as an opportunity to like tell some people that I'm going to do something until next time, so I have more motivation. So my goal is to do 8 cards at least until the next month, and contact at least 2 board game publishers about my game. What else? I did an interview with Vladimir Slavs from Cold Wild Games. I'm sorry about the misspelling. I did this at 3 a.m. I was very tired. Let's hide it. Let's hide it. Let's hide it. Okay. Anyways, podcast. It's not done exporting it. I think it will be out tomorrow in best case, but definitely this week. So if you want to see, it's in Latvian, by the way. Interview with Vladimir Slavs from Cold Wild Games on this YouTube channel. Thank you. Any questions? So basically, I have done many stupid things in my life. I met this guy, I think, in UniCon. I was showcasing one of my first games, and I was giving people rocks who played the game. That's how I met him, I think. Also, when I was making another game, I made a Pornhub account to make devlogs there. But it was safe for work, so maybe they banned me. I haven't checked the account, I don't know. Because I heard once that they're like banning safe for work accounts. Maybe that's not true, I don't know.
Any more questions? Right, if not, a round of applause. And the next person.
Hello, I'm just gonna do it open mic without any visuals, but if you're interested, I can show the visuals on the iPad. My name is Michael, and I just recently finished work with Brain Games Publishing, making basically a social game on web, which is called Flockly Fun, for just basically people connect together with their family and friends, play about 10 or more licensed games which are in the works, which I adapted, and original games too. So I've been working on browser games for the last 5 or 6 years, currently looking for new projects. So basically, before this, I worked in advertising, photo, video, animation, and special effects on a movie which was published by Latvijas Mobilais Telefons, which was Tur. And yeah, I'm kind of an all-round guy, so if there's anybody interested with some interesting projects in which they need assistance in user experience, game design, and visuals, game concept, and, you know, a lot of things, come up to me. I can show you what I've done. Mafia browser games and this social platform. So yeah, if anybody's interested, come up. Thanks.
Maybe some questions? No? Okay, if no questions, then we have time for more.
So I just think that like the first guy talking and you might, you know, you should talk maybe. So who's next? We are not starting another karaoke. I see what you're doing there. Okay, no one? then fine, then I'll go. Yeah, me. So I'm currently studying in university. I think we have the program director here because we have the dog here. Yes. So, and one of the things I have to do is, for exam, is write a scenario for a game and then present it. And its presentation can be like, reading it or doing PowerPoint slides. But I thought this sounds like an opportunity to test out doing cutscenes. And my inspiration was the second Witcher. Keep your expectations low, okay, guys? But let's have a quick look at what was done.
Do you need the microphone?
Not yet. Do we have sound? Because that's like most experience.
Plug it in.
Where?
In the hall.
Okay, let's. Do you think it's gonna just work?
If you have sound on, yes.
Really? Oh, there should be sound now.
There is like.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
Press Windows key now, like whatever.
Okay, sorry. Alright, because I'm just that good, right? Let's see. This is going totally. What?
Wait, what? Did I turn it off? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Is nobody brave
Hello, hello.
enough to challenge our reigning champion? Step into the ring and face the Traveller. I admire your
Testing,
vigour,
testing.
but this here is a
Testing.
serious fight. The men don't hold back, and many a fighter has lost their teeth here.
You want me to read it? Okay. Thanks for the heads up. I'll keep my teeth away from any swinging fists. We can start.
So be it. Just don't come running to me if you chip a nail. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new challenger. Don't be fooled by her fair face, for she is a vicious fighter.
Master, please spare me a moment before the fight.
So what should we do? Should we give him a moment? No. That was like half of my dialogue just cut.
I've been around the world, seen my fair share of fighters. You are built like a siege tower, arms like tree trunks. What am I besides you? The truth is, I don't even want to be here. But my wife, she is sick, and we have visited all healers far and wide, but the only treatment is worth more than I could make in a lifetime. Please, Master,
So what should
throw the fight. I'm only doing this
I
to
have
heal
to.
my
Okay,
darling
yeah.
Esmeralda.
Okay. So what should we say? What kind of sickness? Okay.
Something saps her
saps her strength. She hasn't
She
left the
hasn't
house
left the
since
house
getting
since
sick.
getting sick.
Barely speaks or eats.
Barely speaks or eats.
So, do we throw the fight or not? No. Okay. How many want to throw the fight? Raise your hands. Okay. How many are not going to trust him? Okay, I feel like we need to, throw the fight. All right. Really doing to save your wife? All right. I'll take a dive.
Thank you, Master.
Thank you, Master. Me and my wife, we are both grateful.
Let the
fight begin. I can actually beat him up. So should I win? Fine, I'll win. I mean, the AI is pretty stupid at this point, but because he does always the same things. Right. What a fight! The traveler has walked his last mile. The pot goes to our new champion.
Goes to our...
Oh, my head. I need a pint after trashing like this. So how about it, girls? Gonna treat your hero with a cold glass of beer? Hey.
You goddamn sneaky
Oh
bastard.
God, you know too much. You goddamn sneaky bastard. What tipped you off? So what do we say? Is he just such a bad fighter, or did we catch that he's lying? Yeah, you have a trouble keeping your story straight. Next time, decide if your imaginary wife can or cannot get out of bed.
Ouch.
Ouch, that hurts, Master. So how about it? Buy me a pint, show there are no hard
Buy me a
feelings?
pint to show there are no hard feelings?
No, okay, there are definitely hard feelings, right? Buy your own pint.
Damn.
Damn, you are a heartless bugger. And that's the story. Yeah, that's it. Questions? Wait, what? You can play it only right now on my computer, because I'm another person who's not listening to him. It's like, post things as fast as you can. I'm like, no, my precious. Yeah, I mean, you can play it here after the event in the play part. Yeah, that's for now it.
I had a question. So how did you write it? Did you use Twine or some other tools?
Since the quest was so short, and I also had, for the scenario, I had to use the same guidelines that movies use, I used just Google Document. But just saying, if you have any sort of loops in your story, if you have any sort of branches, using a Google Document and looking how the movie industry does it is a nightmare. Don't do it. You're going to end up with like these kind of columns, really thin.
I don't know why you gave me a microphone, but thanks.
Any more questions? If not, who's next? Anyone? No one. Okay, so I think we've come to the moment of truth. First truth is, oh, I managed to get it out. Yeah, you can do the thing, put stuff, or not. Anyways, Elvis is not here. I'm sorry, guys. There's no free